Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. So in the last video we have seen how we can automate the mutation for a delete user. So there was like one problem with that particular implementation. As you can see, we are hard coding the ID every time, right? So if suppose if I want to delete another user, right, what I need to do, I need to change the ID at two places, right? So what in this case, what we'll be doing, we'll be using the same approach what we did while we were doing the mutation for the insert and update user. We'll try to parameterize this particular ID and see how it will work. Okay, so let's try to implement that first. So what I will do, I will create a separate spec file for that, and let's call this delete user param spec.js. Now in this particular spec file, we'll be doing all the changes which are required to make this particular query parameterize. So let's see how we can do that. So you are familiar, right? We introduced something known as UUID and the random string as a part of our previous video. So we'll be using the same thing here as well. So let's copy these two packages. Let's put it here. Similarly, let's copy the other part as well. Which is these three things. So let's do this and copy this particular ID. Let's make it parameterize by defining the ID here. And what we'll be defining here, we'll be defining name, which we have already created at this point, right? And the rocket name. So let's put rocket name. Okay, so we have like now a particular user being created. Now we need to delete that user, right? So instead of just hard coding, we shall be using the variable which we have created for ID like this, and that's all. Like in the previous video, right, we made one mistake where we are creating the user for a separate ID and deleting for the separate ID, right? So this kind of issues will not happen when you will be parameterizing your query, right? Because you will be passing the same ID whenever you are creating it and whenever you are deleting it. So let me just clear the console. I hope everything is clear to you, right? We haven't done anything. It's like a concept which we have used in our previous videos. And again, if you are not aware about these things, so I would request you to go back like to 3 to 4 videos back and just learn about the things how we are doing. So in this way, you will be just get to know everything what we are doing as of now. So now what we'll do, let's try to execute this. Say node source test mutation underscore delete user parameterise.js. So let's check again, everything looks good to me. It has created the user. It at what point? What happened? We are not deleting the Lelouch rocket. No, it's a mutation delete. user param spec.js, right? And just, oh, I did a blunder. Actually, I have changed the data in the DeleteUser spec.js instead of doing that into the updateuser spec.js, right? So what we will do, let's copy this name, I will just rename the file. All right, everything looks good now. This in this file, right? You can see I have the changes. What I did previously, I made the changes as a part of my DeleteUser where we have hardcoded the ID. So I was not doing the changes as a part of my DeleteUser param spec.js. That's the reason. It was just creating the data with the ID which we have discussed in the last video. So let's say everything looks good. This is ID name, yeah, everything looks good. So let's execute it again. Yes, at this point you should see, right, it has created the random data for you, UXBNR. So we can check this again if you are not sure, right? You can see the length of this particular name is 5. Okay, so you can see the length is 5, along with the rocket name is 5, and the rocket is appended to it. So you can see at this particular point the name data, the characters are 5, then rocket is appended to it. So again, this particular ID is being deleted here, right? And you shall not be seeing the same thing again in your JSON response, right? So let's see the UXBNR, no UXBNR, no UXBNR, no UXBNR, no UXBNR. Again, to validate, right, instead of just going this and just go to the JSON code beautify and validate, there is another way we can validate whether the data has been deleted or not, right? So I think in one of the videos I have shown you, right, how to use filter. I think we can use the same concept again. So what I will do, user request equal to user request dot data, or what we have to see, it should be users dot filter. So I will say user where user dot id triple equals to this one, triple equals to id. So I will explain what I am doing. So at this point what I did, right, so up to here I think it is very clear for you up to this point. Okay, so at this point what I am saying, once the user is deleted, right, I am trying to check that particular user in the array. So I will show you on the web. In this array I am trying to find the user with this ID. So what will happen if the user is already deleted, right? So the filter will return a modified or a filter array to you. So in this case, the length of user request should be 0. Okay, console.log user log request dot length. Okay, so at this point, if the length is 0, means if your array is empty, it means that particular user has been deleted. So let's give it a try. You can see, right, 0. So it means there is no user, delete operation happened successfully. So this is all how we can parameterize the query. In the next video, I will be talking about how we can use the variables, right? Instead of just using this particular ID, we will just try to use the query variables, and we'll see how we can use as a part of our delete users query. So again, thank you guys. If you like my video, please like to my channel and subscribe it. Thanks a lot.